at 6:01 on Wednesday, March 13th. I should call this meeting to order. And this meeting is being recorded. If any persons present is recording, please let me know at this time. And welcome to the meeting. In accordance with the open meeting law, I'd like to let counselors who are part of the committee know that we will do a roll call vote. Someone just entered the meeting. You bring that closer to you to make it easier. And to please have your camera on as much as possible, and especially when you are speaking or voting. Do a roll call.
Just so you all know, the camera in the meeting room is not on.
Oh,
right now.
Accurate.
Okay.
So we should get that out. Start video.
How's that, folks?
Much better, thank you.
All right, so do a roll call of members. So Councillor Ricketts. Present. Councillor Master-Totaro.
Here.
Councillor Gordon.
Here.
Councillor Golub, I am present. Councillor Minhas, I do not see. So next on our agenda is accepting the minutes. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Nope.
Okay. So I'd like to take a vote on accepting the minutes. Going to do a roll call vote for every vote tonight.
Yeah.
Councillor Ricketts,
Yes.
Councillor Gordon,
Yes.
Councillor Master-Totaro,
Yes.
Councillor Golub, yes. And next, moving to public comment. If you are online and wish to give public comment, please enter your name in the chat. I see your hand. I believe that, I'm not sure if it's open meeting law or not, but I will ask again, if you are online, please do enter your name in the chat. And if you're in person, would like to give public comment, welcome to do so. Okay. I'm going to call in Glenn Ayers. Please know that you have 3 minutes. And I've also been letting folks know that if you're coming to propose a new ordinance or resolution or any other type of legislation, to please also be aware that the best process for that is to look for a counselor to sponsor your language. Okay, I'm putting on my timer for 3 minutes.
Why unmute him? Oh, he.
And you're unmuted. So Glenn, take it away.
Thank you very much. So I am here to speak in favor of the proposed change to 2-10, the appointments part of the ordinance for the mayor's appointments. And I proposed, I think, that this be changed so that it be clearer that there is no need to wait after the city council meets and fails to reject appointments, that essentially is a confirmation, and that those people should be allowed to immediately be sworn in rather than having to wait another 2 weeks or another month or whatever it would be, for no real reason. I mean, it serves no purpose to wait for the end of the 35-day period. That's not the intent of a presumptive approval. A presumptive approval is meant to force the city council to take action on something and not sit on it for months at a time. And if they don't take action within 35 days, then they're automatically approved. But if they do hold a meeting, in this case, when I was among a whole list of people who got nominated for various positions, the city council acted quickly. It went to A&O. It was affirmative, and then it went to city council, and basically there was no opposition. And so really that night, it should have been, there should have been the ability to be sworn in or the next day. But instead, the interpretation had been that, no, we have to wait for this 35-day period. Anyway, I appreciate the fact that you are changing that, making it clearer, and it now serves a purpose rather than the way it was before was an impediment to good government. And now it is actually functioning properly. So that's it. Thank you very much. It's a small change, but I hope it makes things more functional, makes the government work better. There's no reason to have empty seats on boards for months at a time when it could be a lot faster. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that I saw, can we look at the chat? I think that I saw Stephanie Duclos's iPhone
Yep.
get entered into the chat.
Huh.
Is that accurate?
She's a guest and she's entered. She
Into the
needs,
chat?
I don't have the chat.
Okay,
I'm here.
so,
She could be unmuted though. I think she can do that herself.
so if we click there and then we look at forum and chat. All right, okay. Do you see Stephanie's name there?
I do.
Yeah, okay, great. So Stephanie Duclos.
Stephanie Duclos, Chapman Street, Greenfield. Actually, I was calling in to talk about the exact same thing of that Glenn Ayers just referred to. However, I actually take an opposing position on this because I don't know what happens if there's more than one applicant. Are we saying that once it gets through A&O, that then once it's in the process of going to council, are we eliminating a wait period at the entirety of it? I'm still confused about the proposal. Do we want to allow for time for consideration if multiple applicants are being considered? I think that would warrant reflection. Will they all get in if that happens? I mean, I just am concerned about the changing of the guard and say we eliminate the whole proposal of, or we eliminate what you've proposed. And now we have some, opportunity to fill those seats with the incoming administration. But if we take away that restriction, then maybe we fill up a lot of people who might want to undermine the incoming administration. I really would love the intent of the language change and how you see this playing out if all of a sudden we get a flood of people that want that position, and should we really let them have the ability to vote immediately when maybe they haven't been fully vetted? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And Pamela Goodwin.
Yes, hi, thank you. I would like to also speak on the same issue that Mr. Ayers just said. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I have a low bandwidth. I'm having nothing but internet headaches for months. Thank you. So for me, I went to A&O and then I went to City Council, and then City Council approved the mayor having me be a commissioner on GSET. And the email that I got from the mayor said, please get hold of the city clerk. And she's going to swear you in on a Thursday. So because the clerk's office was backlogged with absentee ballots, all the ballots, the census, when I called, they said, oh, we don't have any time for you until later on. So I did keep the appointment, but I think if I understand, and honestly, I have not read the way the language things, it is after city council votes the approval by the mayor, then I have this lag time. And I will say that the city council deliberated, were we going to have a quorum problem? And they said, oh, it'll be okay. The mayor, current mayor, said, you know, there are a lot of names that she was aware of people. On the radio, local radio station, I'm listening to the former mayor saying no quorum is going to be a problem, and there won't be any city business taking place until like March, which disputed what I watched at city council. So there sometimes is a quorum problem, I get it, but I don't think there needs to be this long waiting period. I believe that I went into the GSET office and I met the chair and I met the general manager, even like a little bit early, because I knew I had been approved. I just hadn't been sworn in. And then I was sworn in the same time that Phil Rowland was sworn in to the Disability Access Commission. So if there's this crazy period of time for no reason, that's what I am wondering about, why that's necessary. I thought that it didn't have anything to do with who's being vetted. And the last thing I'll say, when people are on a A&O and they don't know that they could go to city council and introduce themselves, that's a friend of mine who said, oh, I could have gone, maybe I should have gone, because I've heard counselors say, oh, we don't know these people, but the mayor knows the person and they're vetted, obviously. And then, you know, I think people are good people stepping up to the plate, and probably my time is up.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else like to give public comment? You would, okay. I apologize. Can you please come up here? Sign your name.
Louise Amio,
Yeah.
56 Madison Circle, Greenfield.
Feel free to take a seat.
Thank you. I just would like to speak in favor of a bill that would allow for public comment before every meeting. I am aware of one committee that did not allow for public speaking comments before the meeting began. And I was aware of a lot of people having hard feelings about the subject because they felt that they had something urgent to discuss and it wasn't brought up. I know that you people put in long hours, and I really, really respect and appreciate and don't want to abuse of that. And sometimes we do as the public, guilty. But on the other hand, government is supposed to be serving the public. And if people have concerns, I think it is appropriate for them to be able to express those concerns specifically to a committee that is a related committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Did Minhas come in at all?
I have not.
Okay,
I'll just start.
all right.
Councilor Ricketts, I am grateful for your diligence in the note taking. I know that the clerk has told me like all we actually need to write is the
it's the basic.
votes review. So
Okay.
please don't, my request is you don't need to do.
Oh, no, it's something for me to do while I'm,
If it helps you, if it like, and it's a gift to Tammy, but
Yep.
not on my behalf.
yeah,
You don't need to do.
no
that.
problem.
I entrust that choice to you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We do not have any public hearings today. We're going to move on to page 10, where we have someone like to read the motion.
Okay, the city council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council pursuant to Charter Section 2-10 affirms the following appointments and reappointments by the mayor, all terms to expire December 31st, 2027. Greenfield Local Cultural Council, Joseph J.J. White. Sustainable Greenfield Implementation Committee, Marie Francois Hart. Commission on Disability Access, Louise Amiot. Human Rights Commission, Brian Chamberlain. Council on Aging, Noreen Grogan. Crossroads Cultural District Committee, Kay Broham. Mayor's Task Force Against Domestic Violence, Janine Grieve, mayor's appointment. Okay, Amanda Sanderson, majority vote required.
1 second.
Second.
Any discussion on these?
Yeah, I know most of these people. I think it's a great list. I'm glad we're very lucky to have them.
Yeah, anybody who wants to participate is fine with me.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, vote.
Are we voting them all at once?
We are
or-
going to vote them all at once.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Good.
Yes, yes, we are. All right. Councilor Mustard,
Yes,
Councilor Gordon,
Yes.
Councilor Ricketts.
Yes.
And Councilor Gold is a yes. I'm going to scroll down.
Welcome.
Yes. All right, so we are moving to page 22. And this is a motion that I put forward. I sat down, take that back. We need to read the motions first.
Yeah.
In order to discuss it.
Right.
Would it be, I'm going to read, I'll read this one because it's challenging to read because there's a lot of crossouts and things like that. So I will read it. Order number fiscal year 24073. The City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council votes to amend the City Council Rules of Procedure 56514, Rule 14. Request by councilors for legal opinions material by adding the language in bold and by deleting language in strike through as follows. And I'm just going to read what is not strike through. 56514, Rule 14, request by councilors for legal opinions and material amended 2/15/2023 by order number fiscal year 23-107. A, definition. Request by councilors for legal opinions is defined as any request by a councilor for a legal opinion or material from any person that would incur an expense for the city of Greenfield. B, councilor's request. Any councilors wishing to receive an opinion or material that would incur an expense must submit in writing by the city council president and vice president detailed reasons for the request with proposed scope of work for council. If the requesting councilor wishes to submit a suggestion for a legal counselor, they may submit the name along with the estimated cost. C, agreement or disapproval. The council president and vice president will have 20 calendar days to submit their agreement to proceed with seeking counsel or rejection of the request in writing to the requesting counselors. If a rejection is entered, or if the president and vice president could not reach a unanimous decision about whether to hire legal counsel, the counselors can appeal the decision by having said request placed on the next regular council meeting agenda for consideration by the full council. The majority of the full council approves the measure, the counselors would proceed as outlined in subsection D. D, selection of legal counsel. In the case of an approval of the request, the council president and vice president will select a legal counselor. If the council president and vice president cannot agree on a legal counselor, they will bring the selection of said counselor to committee chairs for a vote. The council president will then seek a good faith estimate from the selected legal counselor with expected cost and possible expenses to be incurred. The estimate shall be obtained through the exercise of sound business practice. E, review of proposal. The city council president and vice president shall submit the estimate and within 10 days submit their approval or rejection in writing to the council clerk. If the council president and vice president approve the proposal, the council president will forward the payment request along with the name and contact information of the chosen legal counselor and estimated cost invoice to the clerk of the council. If the council president and vice president reject the proposal, they may select another legal counselor and the process in subsection D shall be followed as applicable. If counselors disagree with this decision, the process in subsection C may be followed. F, contracting legal opinions and materials. The clerk will send the legal counselor the request for the opinion and materials. Once the opinion and materials is received, it will be forwarded to the full council. Note to counselors, MGL Chapter 30B, Section 4C states, a procurement in the amount of less than $10,000 shall be obtained through the exercise of sound business practices. Majority vote required.
Do you want a second?
So,
I'll second, but
Thank you.
I didn't hear the first part, but I'll
oh
second.
yeah, so,
Okay. Yep.
yeah, and just so I'm still learning a lot about the process. So for something to be discussed, the motion is read and that counts as the first
Okay.
motion.
Perfect.
And then anyone can second it. Yeah,
I
I'm
second.
still, thank you.
Thank you.
Still learning these things. Okay, so I will preface this discussion by saying that the question came forward to the city council about how we will find legal counsel with an S. And I offered at committee chairs to think this through more. And I sat down with Councilor Bottomley and realized that the language that we had created, and I was part of A&O when we created this language, was not as thorough enough to be easily implementable. And so this is a next go at it. And I'll say that the language that we initially had was never actually, like the process that we wrote was never actually used because this was created after city council created a budget. I believe our line item is $10,000 for seeking legal counsel, but we hadn't actually gone through it. And when I thought through going through it, it required a more thorough outlining of the process. So I could talk more about specifics, but here's what other folks think.
I'm all for this, the way the changes that were made.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess I'm just wondering, is this a problem that we've had in the past? Because I know that if things came before us and we didn't understand something, we would just contact the clerk's office and we would ask for a legal opinion. So I just want to make sure, is this for us to get the council to get their own legal person? So we don't use the one from the administrative side? Are we looking to have our own counselor? Because we've never had problems getting legal opinions before. We could just ask at the clerk's office.
Yeah.
It's more protection.
Yeah.
So we have. to
I
look
can
for someone.
answer. So I can answer the question. I think ideally we would, well, I'm not sure, I rescinded ideally. I think the first case is we go to the city solicitor and the town's attorney so that we don't have to expend these extra funds. I think this was created around the time that I joined council, which when the council had a rift with the mayor and were thinking that they might need to hire their own lawyer. That's when this was created, but we never actually used it. And maybe we never will have to use it. I don't know what will happen, but this is a added protection. If we wanted a different opinion, like with the school budget stuff, and there was a difference of legal opinions, that could have been a moment, but we didn't need to hire someone. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So, yeah, so I guess I'd just be in favor of it if we just were getting our own legal counsel, period.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have to worry about all this overkill that's going on, but we just have our own, period.
Yeah.
I think that's the simpler part.
I'm thinking this through, but like, this is not my favorite cup of tea to figure this type of stuff out. But in order to start the process of finding someone good, I wanted a process that everyone felt was thorough. And I also want it to be simple and easy. Yeah. I see Councillor Gordon hand up.
Yes, thank you. I do support this. I share the concerns that Councillor Ricketts just brought up. But I do think we need some kind of ability to reach out and get legal opinions on actions that the council is taking or is considering taking. I've spoken with councilors in other cities, and they are cities that are definitely better resourced than Greenfield, but they are often shocked that we don't have a council, legal counsel that we as the city council can reach out to, as a matter of course. I will say the wording in here the wording is all confusing. I think that we probably all agree, but in section E, where it says, if the council president and vice president reject the proposal, they may select another legal counselor.
Okay.
If I'm reading this correctly, if they reject the proposal, they're rejecting the proposal.
Okay.
So it doesn't follow that they could select another counselor, but please correct me if I'm just misunderstanding the language.
Okay. Yeah, so we could amend this to make it more specific. What this means to say is that there will be, the council president is going to seek a good faith estimate from a legal counselor. And that is the proposal that's being referred to. The council president goes to an attorney, says, give me an estimate, give me an offer or a bid, or it's not a bid because we're not putting a such bid. The fill in the blank. We could
Estimated quote.
Estimate, yeah. And that is what is being approved or rejected. Would you like to offer an additional word there to make it, or a different word to make it clearer?
Yeah, tell me if I need to propose an actual amendment. But I think that we do need to separate which proposal we're talking about. So I think in this section, I would suggest wording like, if the president and vice president reject the initially proposed legal counsel, they may select another legal counselor.
Could be the initially proposed legal counselor's estimate. Because they could come back with a different estimate, right? They could come back with a different scope of work.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely a better way to word this. I see what you're saying. Proposed estimate, I think that we could replace proposal with proposed estimate.
Okay, that's easier. Sure. Would you like to, is there any other language that feels like it needs a change before you propose an amendment?
Not right now. I think the rest of it makes enough sense to me, but that was the piece that really jumped out.
Does everybody feel comfortable with that being the only change? Do you want to review this again and come back to it? Do we want to push this through?
Yeah, I think that we're ready. I don't know that we need to put this off. Can you make that a motion to amend those words, Councillor Gordon, to strike through proposal and add a proposed estimate?
Sure. So I move that we amend the language in section E to strike the word proposal, which appears twice in this section, and change it to proposed estimate.
Did you write that down? Councilor Fitz? I'll second that. I'm gonna just wait a sec till we vote on that. Is there any discussion on that amendment?
Okay, so she makes a motion to,
In section E, strike the second and third paragraphs. To strike proposal both times. And enter in proposed estimate.
Yeah, that's one way.
Yeah. Okay. Hearing no discussion, take a vote on that. Councilor Mastrotero,
I'll vote yes on that, yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Councilor Ricketts,
This is the amendment.
right. Yeah, I'll vote yes on it.
okay. And Councilor Golub, and then
Okay.
let me know when you're done with that.
4073, yeah. Yeah, I guess I have nothing to say. It's just so wordy and it looks like way too many people weigh in on this constantly. It's like president and vice president, they may or they may not, but it keeps saying things about if councilors disagree or if councilors want to vote on it on the next meeting. Yeah. I think I'll probably just say yes, but yeah, this is a lot more than I think it needs to be. Shouldn't be a whole, because usually it looks like it could be one counselor who brings something forward that they want to have a legal opinion on. And then the president and vice president would decide, okay, yeah, we'll get a legal opinion on that, and then it goes out to the rest of us. But it, go ahead.
In the current language, the counselor asking for his opinion has to come back with the chosen attorney and a proposed estimate. And I didn't want the counselors to have to do that, to have that
So
burden.
do it.
That's what the current language says. I'll also say my hope, and this is not written in here, and this is just,
Oh, yeah.
but hopefully we can move through this, and maybe we end up getting our own,
Right,
person who's on retainer, and we don't have to go through this every time.
yeah, that's why I'm just gonna vote for it, because I hope we just do the other thing and
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about all this.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so I'm gonna call it. Oh,
only came in case you had questions for me. Thank you.
have a good night.
You too. Thank you for this.
No more discussion?
Nope.
Okay. All right, Councilor Mastrotero, on the entire, we're voting on the entire motion now that it is amended.
Yes.
Councilor Gordon,
Yes.
Councilor Ricketts,
Yes,
Councilor Golub is a yes.
all right.
Here we go. Next.
We are
Okay,
next
26.
on page 26. You have to do this?
No.
No.
The city council move that it be ordered that the Appointments Ordinance Committee take from the table order number FY 24065, amends the city council rules of procedure, Rule 12, public participation, section A, conduct, and subsection B, non-residents, which was tabled at the February 14, 2024 Appointments Ordinance Committee meeting.
Second.
Majority vote required. What is this, broken down in two pieces? Yeah,
Yes.
okay,
So the vote is to take it from the table.
right,
Yes.
yes. I'll say second, yeah.
Councilor Gordon,
We're voting to take it from the table, right?
you were voting to take it from the table, to discuss, to
I
be
vote
able
yes.
to discuss it. Okay.
Great. Yeah.
I heard yes from Councilors Matsushitaro and Ricketts, yes from Councilor Golub. Okay. So I want to
So it's-
tee this up, but I want to make a motion to, it's a lot more to say about this, but before we start, I want to say, having a few different conversations with people, I wanted to simplify the language that I had put forward.
So are you talking about the bottom part now?
The bottom part.
So you're discussing it before it's read, or you just gonna?
Oh, right. I am not meaning to discuss it.
Oh, no, I mean, you.
But that is actually.
You can, but I just want to see what you were doing. Okay.
I don't know that I can, that I think that the order should be read. And I'm wanting to simplify things for people, but we should, for good practice, we need to read the order first.
Okay.
So, would you like to read the order?
The city council be ordered. Okay, it's order number FY 24-065. That the Greenfield City Council amends the City Council Rules of Procedure 565 Rule 12, public participation, subsection A, conduct, and subsection B, non-residents, by deleting language and strike through and inserting in its place the language as follows. 565-12, Rule 12, public participation at council and council committee meetings. And then general, then we'll go down to upon the request of the presiding officer, all persons shall stay silent. Wait, is this all?
Yes.
Right. And then two, any member of the public may be recognized to speak.
At the discretion.
Yeah, and then discretion of the presiding officer, majority of the members present. Then three, members of the public shall state their name and town of residence in an audible tone for the record. B, agenda item, all council meetings and council committee meetings shall provide for a period of public comment. 2, members of the public shall limit their remarks to matters generally under the purview of the city at the full council meetings or of the committee at council committee meetings. Any citizen or petitioner shall be limited to 3 minutes or another amount at the discretion of the presiding officer. Members of the public who are not residents of Greenfield may speak after all residents who wish to have spoken. Majority vote required.
Oh. I see your hand, Councilor Gordon.
Yeah, sorry, you're all very small on my screen, so I need you to actually speak to me if you're
Okay, sorry about that.
wanting me to do something, because I can't really see if I'm being gestured toward. Thank you. So I just want to say I really strongly support this.
Hold on, the motion needs to be seconded. I'm
Oh, I
willing to
apologize.
Would you like a second?
She just said,
A second, okay.
Okay.
Great.
Sorry.
You can go ahead now
Should I
that
go
it's been
ahead? Okay.
seconded. Yeah.
Yeah, I strongly support this. I think that, I think folks know, and I hope that people remember that public comment at meetings is not the only way for them to get in touch with us. But I do think it's a really important way, and that we, as a council, as elected officials, should work to make public input as accessible as possible. So I'm very much in favor of this.
Actually,
can
you can go. Yeah.
I go?
You can,
Thank you.
there's,
I
Oh,
believe,
you want to change the wording?
yeah, I'm wanting to change the word. I'm actually wanting to change the wording. So I just want to let you, because I want to let you know that. So you
So
can.
why don't
you
we
can
do
go,
that
but
first?
I think that would be a good idea.
okay.
Yeah. So I want to say that I after talking to a few different people, and realizing that the language felt confusing, I sent to the clerk's office simplified language. I'm learning about the process, and I didn't realize that I mean, it seems obvious now, and so I'm learning about the process, but I didn't realize that we would have to discuss the language that, in depth, this language that was tabled. And so I would like to move to strike the current language and replace it with the simplified language that's on page 48.
As opposed
As
to
opposed
the
to,
last time.
it's not, yeah,
Right.
it's not
Yep.
substantially different, but
Right.
I feel it's clearer so people can, if this passes, I want people to have easy to understand language. And so I would like to read it
From page 48.
from page 48. Yeah,
Or does everybody have page 48?
I have page 40.
And it does have strike throughs, so
It doesn't
everybody
have-
can read
so
it.
that is accurate.
Children,
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
read it.
okay, I read
It
out
doesn't
loud.
have to be read too. It doesn't need to be read to us. We could just read it.
Cool, so my proposal?
Yeah.
So the motion that I'm making is to strike the current language and replace it with this language that is clear of strike throughs and inviting everyone to take a moment to read it.
Okay. I read this. Yep.
Are we sure it doesn't need to be read aloud according to open meeting
Yeah.
law?
For what?
That's a good point. It may need to be read out loud for open meeting law.
I'll read it out loud.
Okay.
Okay,
New draft, Rule 12, public participation at council and council committee meetings. 1, all council meetings and council committee meetings shall provide for a period of public comment. 2, Greenfield residents will be called upon to speak first. Members of the public who are not residents of Greenfield may be called upon to speak after all residents who wish to do so have spoken. 3, when recognized, members of the public shall state their name and town of residence and in an audible tone for the record, unlike the way I slur. Okay, number 4. Members of the public shall limit their remarks to matters generally under the purview of the city at full council meetings or the committee at council committee meetings. 5, any citizen or petitioner shall be limited to 3 minutes or another amount of time at the discretion of the presiding officer. 6, upon the request of the presiding officer, all persons shall be silent.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, would you wish to speak?
Sure. Well, I'll do the easy one first. Where are we at? Public, where's it, the 3-minute thing? Number
5.
Number 5, I would rather it be written, shall be limited to the amount of time determined by the presiding officer.
Mhm.
Because 3 minutes doesn't have to be 3 minutes. You know, so there's that. And then, number 1, shall be changed to may, because I believe this should be at the discretion of the president of the city council or whoever's presiding over the committee.
I'd like to hear those as separate motions.
Okay,
So would you like to make them as separate motions?
sure. Or we can just, yeah, sure.
Unless there's an alternative, because I want to be able to discuss them separately and I want to give them both attention. So-
Okay, so we'll do number 5 first. No. Which is it, number 4?
Number 5. Mhm.
Limited 3 minutes, yeah, so that makes it. I think the language is easier.
Do you want me, before we discuss it in depth, do you want me to state it as I would state it as a motion? For example, I hear you saying that you want to strike through, the motion would be to strike through,
Be limited to 3 minutes. I think it would be read, any citizen or petitioner shall be limited to the amount of time determined by the presiding officer.
Yeah, that's in the, yeah, the way it was written before.
well,
It was written that way. Yep.
I don't know
Original.
if it was written that way before, but I think that we can discuss that as a motion.
Yeah.
So do you want to write that?
Second? Okay. And motion to change number 5 in new draft to, what is it, time determined by,
Shall be limited to the amount of time
determined,
determined by, the
Presiding.
discretion of the presiding. So,
okay. Okay, second. Okay,
any discussion of that?
I absolutely agree, especially, well, we do it at council meeting, which is a full meeting. We absolutely should be doing it at committee meeting. Because like our last month one, where we had so many people weigh in and it was on a topic that wasn't even on our agenda. So when lots of people come in, yeah, that would be a good one to be like, okay, it could be 2 minutes. Because people can lead up, like if they know there's like a big vote coming up next month, they could go to every single subcommittee meeting and speak if they want, because it's public comment.
So this is specifically to this motion that the
The time.
presiding officer should be able to
Time.
determine the time.
Right, I'm explaining it,
Okay.
why I
Right.
am agreeing with it,
Okay.
right?
Go ahead. Councilor Gordon?
Yeah, I'm ambivalent about this, honestly. I totally see your point, Counselor, that 3 minutes or another amount of time essentially just amounts to the amount of time is up to the discretion of the presiding officer. And I could see a value in specifying an amount of time as a norm that we generally follow, which is what 3 minutes has been. And I think it's a reasonable amount of time. So I'm honestly not sure how I feel about this. I think I'm in support, and we could just say limited the amount of time at the discretion of the presiding officer.
Because, quite frankly, when it comes to like committee meetings, we don't always get a lot of people. So the presiding officer may say 3 minutes if you only have a couple people. I mean, like this meeting, we didn't even do correctly. We didn't have people like say their name and address in the chat like we're supposed to and stuff. But I'm like, this meeting's zipping along. I'm not going to do it. But since we only had like 3 people, then we could give the 3 minutes. But
I would give them 5.
if you give them 5, people are going to take 5.
Right.
And people repeat themselves. People did 3 minutes tonight, but they repeat themselves. So I want to be careful of that.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I completely agree.
Yep.
I am not contradicting what anyone has said so far.
Yeah, the part in this that I feel strongly about is the word shall, which we'll get to in the next
sure.
motion. But when I think about this, I feel less strongly about this. I mean, this is kind of restating what is currently here for another amount of time. So I could,
Either
I
way,
like giving 3 minutes as an indication. And people often don't use the entire time, at least they haven't, as I've been timing them. So yeah, I could support this.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Because without it, I'm not voting for it. Because no, you're gonna get people to come and just speak on whatever they want constantly.
Yeah, so any more discussion on this amendment?
Nope.
Okay. I wish I could say all those in favor, but I am going to do a roll call. Counselor
Sorry.
Mazzucato?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Okay.
Counselor Ricketts?
Yes.
Counselor Golub? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So would you like to make the second motion?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Still the same, but.
yeah,
All right. So what was this? Okay.
Wait, let's pause. Do you want a minute?
No, because it's the word, right? Shall or what?
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have to make a motion, number one, change all council meetings and council committee meetings shall provide for period of public comment to all council meetings and council committee meetings may provide for a period of public comment.
I'll second to be able to discuss that.
Okay.
To May. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, hold a second. Okay.
You can
Did
go
you?
first.
Would you like to share? I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear
Um,
why that's important to you.
Well, like Rachel said earlier, there's many ways the public can communicate with us. I think we have committee chairs and a president and vice president of the city council that have the authority to make those decisions. I think it should be left to their discretion. There may come a time, but I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Last month's city council meeting, I was sitting on the fence about this, and it's okay to be passionate about something. But to be aggressive and inconsiderate and the behavior, we got one apology in writing and there were more than several people that I'm even getting emails to this day that I consider threatening or else emails. So I think the presiding officer needs to be able to control the meeting. And more times than not, the may happen, right? And I think there's going to be, there could be instances where I specifically, I could think of ways and means where we've got several meetings, probably in a week, to knuckle down and get to work. And I just think there's times where if the presiding officer, the president doesn't want to have public comment, so be it.
So it sounds, a few things. I have a lot of different thoughts about this and I have a lot to say about it. And I'm, want to be respectful. It sounds like you've told me where you stand on, well, we've been in the council meeting where you shared the A&O meeting. And I hear you saying no, so I'm weighing whether to share all the thoughts. If your minds are already made up,
You
then.
should, because you're one vote. You should do it. You should speak. your
Yeah,
vote.
no, but I just want to respect that and share with you where I'm coming from on this. Knowing that you very well might not change your minds on this, but there's a few different things. One is, to me, this is and I'm really curious how the whole council votes on this. I realize that this may go yes, this may go no. I hope it goes yes. I think it's really a decision, relatively small decision, but a decision on what we value as a council and who we are as a council. I see really good reasons I do see the reasons not to do it. Like the amount of time that we put into this, I see specifically how much you respond to emails. I saw that when I was a constituent and really was grateful for that. We give way more than we receive in terms of, there is an imbalance. We give a lot of time. And so I realize that this is requesting even more time from counselors. But I think it's important that we are elected to represent the public and that different people have different ways that they should be able to have access to different ways that they express themselves. So it's like, are we valuing expediency, or are we valuing participation and representation and also like well-vetted decisions? I think that there's one reason that I've heard people not want to do this is because there's a couple of people in the community that can take up a lot of space and not be respectful of our time. But I think it's not wise governance to create policy based on a couple of people. I think that also that if we allow time as early as possible in the process, we are likely to hear from people as early as possible in the process and prevent some of the actions that people might take later that are more that are more blocking the process. For me, this comes down to we are elected to represent, and we can't represent well if we're not listening well, and that this is an important place for listening. I hear the argument about Ways and Means, but the issue that has been the most contentious since I joined a year and a half ago, I mean, there's the police stuff, but really the thing that got the most public outcry was school budget. And I was on Ways and Means during that time, and we maybe had at the most at one meeting 5 people come. So I'm just pausing to see if there's anything else. I don't think that I think that it should be a guarantee that people are able to participate and have many ways to participate, and that we do our job the best as counselors when we create forums to listen to people. So, and I thought there was something else. I'm pausing. I think that the aggressive and inconsiderate, I hear that, and I don't know that eliminating the guarantee of public comment is the way to deal with what happened last time. And I don't think that this decision should be left in the hands of one person. And I'll also say I had tabled this previously because there was the question of whether this is permissible by Massachusetts general law. And I asked, even though we don't have a legal counsel, I asked Kathy, and she went to the clerk Scott, she went to her clerk's group and asked for other clerks from throughout the Commonwealth to share what they have. And there are some municipalities, including Amherst, that guarantee public comment at all public meetings. And there are other councils that have it at subcommittee meetings. So I take from that it is permissible under NGL.
So
I think
So she reached out to everyone. So you found out how many places do it at subcommittee level.
I don't know.
At council, everybody knows that. That's at every council.
Not, actually, no, not every council has it.
Every town council or city council doesn't allow public
Not
comment?
every single.
Is it based on
It's based
their
on-
agenda or only they don't do? it?
It's under, there are some municipalities that they decide, I did not read all of the municipalities that responded to Kathy. But
Well, that would have been-
I,
Well, yeah, you could forward it to me. That'd be good. Yeah.
well, there are, how many municipalities?
360.
Yeah, I'm not gonna read all of their language.
Oh, no, I don't want the
got
language.
a stamp.
I just wanted to know. Well, I could Google it. Because for me, this is not anything to do with council as far as I'm concerned, because we have a president. They can say 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Right.
And they do it the minute they look at the room. We've done that for years. That's way before my time. I'm only concerned about this the most tonight because of pushing it on committee meetings. It's always been the chair of the subcommittee always decides if there's public comment that
Right.
night.
And the intent of this is to change that.
Right, so that's why I want to get to that.
Yeah.
And stop talking about what they do at main council meetings.
No, that is, that is what is, I feel like we are discussing. I'm not debating. I don't think that you're disagreeing with whether or not full council meetings should have public comment, but specifically, I am arguing that subcommittee member meetings should have a guarantee of public comment. And that there are municipalities, there's a wide range of what municipalities throughout the Commonwealth do. So addressing that question, but I see Councillor Gordon with your hand up.
Thanks. To me, taking out the word shall and replacing it with may defeats the whole purpose. Like, we may as well not vote on this at all. This being the whole proposal, not just the amendment, because it is really a matter of, do we feel strongly enough about giving the public time to speak at subcommittee meetings that we want to make this change and ensure that they have time and space at subcommittee meetings to do it. I very much want that. I'm not concerned that it takes away any power of the council president or other presiding officer to control meetings at all. They can certainly still determine the length of time provided for public comment, as a whole, and also to each person. They can control the meeting. They can stop people if they're acting rudely. I think that the presiding officer has a lot of power to do that, and that this doesn't impact that one way or another. And I think, I very much echo what Councillor Golub said. I think that, yes, people have other ways to reach out to us, but a lot of times they don't have time. We get materials last minute sometimes, and members of the public may not have time before a council meeting to, and they're also busy lives, to know what's happening in the agenda, understand the issue, reach out to us by email or phone call before the meeting. So I think it is really important that in committee meetings, they have an opportunity to just speak their piece if they wish. And I also don't want committee meetings to last, long into the night. I totally understand that concern. But in my time attending committee meetings and council meetings as a member of the public, I've never seen very many people show up to committee meetings wanting to have input. So I'm not too concerned about that either. So I'm going to be voting no on this proposed amendment.
Any additional discussion on the amendment?
So we're just doing the word, right? Not the whole thing.
Yeah, we're voting on the amendment, on the motion to amend. So on the motion to amend, Councillor Master-Chair,
Yes.
Councillor Gordon,
Thank you.
No.
Councillor Ricketts,
Abstain. Here.
okay, and Councillor Golub is no. Okay, so
So.
it's pausing.
Yes, okay. And now for the full motion?
Any other discussion on the amended motion, which includes the amendment to number 5?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Yeah, I said, is there any other discussion to the main motion, which is amended? Number 5 was amended.
Number 5 or number 1?
Number 5 was amended, number 1 was not amended.
Right, correct. No, what are you saying here?
I will repeat myself. I'm wondering if there is any additional discussion on the main motion, which including the amendment to number 5. It has been amended. And I'm wondering if there's any more discussion on that motion.
We haven't talked about 1. We have talked about.
We just voted on number 1.
Okay. I thought we already voted on number 5 as well.
We did vote,
Right.
we voted on number 5,
Right,
that amendment passed.
correct.
We voted on number 1, that amendment failed.
Right, so.
Now we are voting on the main motion, which includes the amendment to number 5, which was passed. And I'm not sure where the confusion was.
I'm gonna, the
The
main,
main motion, so the main motion.
So the whole thing.
so the
the whole
whole
thing.
thing.
All right,
That
so
means the whole
roll
thing.
call.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, so I'm just asking, is there any discussion
No.
before we take a roll call vote?
No.
Okay. Counselor Masters Tara.
I'll pass.
Okay. Counselor Gordon.
I vote yes.
Counselor Fitz.
Which you vote?
She voted yes.
Okay. No.
Okay, Counselor Golub is yes. Back to you.
No,
Yes.
So we will forward this with a split.
Yeah.
two vote.
I didn't say too much. I only like to talk on council flow about votes. Yep.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
I am going back to page 1 to see where we are in the agenda. Okay, so next things are for discussion. There won't be voting on the next items,
Okay,
but I want to have us update each other on where we are with these pieces. So let me know when you're ready, Councilor Fitz.
no, go ahead.
Okay, so the 2 changes to the budget process, they are not yet coming for a vote because I needed a public hearing. There will be, I've asked Clerk Scott to bring these for public hearing next month. So we will have a hearing and we will vote on them. But right now is an opportunity to ask any questions about them and share any thoughts that you all want to share. I do want to share some thoughts about these. I want to say that I had long discussions with both Councilor Chiranzo and the mayor about these next 2 proposals, and they are both on board. I've gone back and forth about dates and numbers, and I'm not speaking for them. I'm saying that I have the
Right.
reason I'm taking
I read
time
it, so.
Yeah. is to have their
Yep.
thoughts. So I'm not going to read it, but any questions about the changes to the Capital Improvement Planning Committee or to when the budget and capital plan need to be submitted?
No.
No.
No,
All right. Okay, so the next is the piece that, and this will,
okay, Dion.
I'm on page 32.
Yeah, can we just read out what it says in the agenda for each item so that folks who are trying to follow along know where we are?
Yeah, so there are not, it would be a lot of reading to read the entire pieces. What we just.
No, I just mean the header in the agenda, the bullet point.
Okay, so those 2 pieces, when I was referring to budget changes, I was referring to the discussion to amend City Code Section 110 Capital Improvement Planning Committee and to amend Charter Chapter 5 Finance and Fiscal Procedure Section 3 and Section 6. And then the next one Just wondering if there's any discussion on what is on page 32, which is amend charter section 210, council review of certain appointments. Would you like that language to be added? Would you like us to read that out loud? Would that be helpful?
I don't need it read out loud. No,
Okay.
thanks.
Do either?
So do you know what the town clerk said about changing that? Like we have to do this vote to make this change, right? The 35 day, because this is charter, correct? Or,
This is, I believe so. Hold on a sec. Yeah, it is charter, so it would take a while.
Right.
I wanted to submit this for us to be discussing. And I honestly have not gone into depth with this.
all right,
Do you have specific questions about it?
no, I just wondered if it was charter, so
Yes.
no matter how we vote, just goes to Boston, it'll take a bit, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And anything that is charter, when it goes to Boston, gets the legal review of
right.
their folks. Code changes are our
Mhm.
responsibility to vet. Do you have any discussion about this?
No, I have not.
Yeah, no,
I think-
yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, the only thing I would say is to the concern about how this could impact like sort of packing committees or something like that. If my understanding is correct, it doesn't change. Counselor Golub, your face looks like I'm
Yeah.
saying the wrong thing. Am I addressing
No,
the right
I
issue?
also I'm curious what you're about to say.
Okay,
I'm engaged.
just checking. If I'm understanding this correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, this doesn't change the actual process for making appointments, right? The mayor nominates, it goes through committee, it goes through the council. All that this would change is that once it's through the council, that person can be sworn into the committee right away instead of having to wait to the end of, however many days are left to reach the 35 days. Is that correct?
Right.
Right, it's just a 35-day process, and it's,
Right.
and just historically, most people who put their name in for appointments, they've been going to these meetings already. That's why they even want to be there. So they are not a voting member for that 35 days, but I mean, things may change now, but historically, people already go all the time. And they just finally came up for it, and now they're just on it. So now they're voting. So the only thing that is slow about it is because they might not be able to vote because they're waiting that. But when you think about 35 days, it's 1 month. You're still in and stuff. You're just not voting, really. So, yeah, I'm fine with it changing and stuff, but it's not a big deal. It's fine.
It's a small change.
It's such a small change. Yeah.
I agree.
35
I think
days
it's
is 1
totally
month.
fine. I think it's
Yeah.
totally fine to make the change. I think like why make people wait since they have
Yeah.
been probably going to those
Right.
meetings already for a long time. Like why make them wait
Yeah.
longer to actually get to officially take part? But I agree, it's not a tremendously substantive change.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet it must have been back. It might have been when trying to put certain people on certain committees, stacking the votes for certain things. And I think maybe the 35 days came for that because that's been done in the past. And, but it was still 1 month and a lot of things didn't even get voted on the following month. But yeah, there's definitely stacking of boards when it's certain issues. So, okay.
Any other discussion
No.
on this? No? Good, okay. So next is the dog bites and,
Oh, that's.
I believe so, and it is Councilman House's, so I am going to not, and there, I don't see any new I don't see the new language, so I'm not going to bring this for us to discuss it, but I am out of order. I'm going back to the top agenda and realizing that
That was numbered.
the final report and recommendations submitted by the Greenfield Charter Chapter 7778 Review Ad Hoc Committee. I do not have any more discussion about this at this point.
Yeah.
And until a counselor wants to sponsor language,
This last meeting, but.
I did, exactly, but it is on,
Right, okay.
I know if I'm repeating myself.
I think it'll just keep coming back.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I feel
It'll get off chairs. At chairs, she will take it off, so it won't
Yep.
be on here
I'm
anymore.
going to take it off
Yep.
That's fine.
until, and I
Somebody
am,
wants to step
and I
forward.
am repeating myself because we went through repetition and because it happens to be on the agenda. So if a counselor wishes to sponsor this language, which could be me at some point, but it is not currently. If a counselor wants to sponsor language, they can do so, but I am going to ask to take it off. Okay. We're not going to discuss dog bites now unless you want to. Nope. Discuss dog
I
bites.
know that there's a couple of things, well, I'm gonna speak for him, but I believe there's some things he's still fine.
Other things that are not current agenda.
So I would take that off. I would.
Oh, you're not,
Yeah, yes.
no, I don't agree.
I'm not,
I.
okay, I'm not suggesting you don't. believe
Yeah.
me.
But so the language is important. What I just said is right now, we're not going to discuss it.
Right.
I'm not removing it from the agenda because I'm anticipating that he will want to discuss it next time. Okay, now, ride for hire order. Where does that stand?
See you next month,
Perfect. Okay.
Got it.
hopefully.
Yep.
I'm waiting for information.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. And we already discussed public participation. All right. So I think we're good. Oh, yes.
Yeah, Penny and I are still working on the public safety changes,
Right.
which don't
But
seem to be on this
I think
agenda.
I think we asked for May.
Yeah, you did.
We asked for May or
Oh,
June.
I
right.
think you asked for
Yeah.
April. Do you want it to be April or do you want it to be May or June?
I can't even figure out tomorrow night. But,
Exactly.
yeah, because I was gonna email you guys when I get home tonight, because I was in last night's meeting too. I just haven't had time.
Right, same.
Yeah, so we can say April for now.
Let's
But,
aim for April and we can give you an update
yeah,
in April if we need to move it.
yeah, we could say in April. We'll let you know in May.
Yep.
We're good.
You can't say that.
Oh,
It's in your court. Okay. So a question, so the next, number 8 is the next meeting.
oh, yeah.
If Councilman has to share that question,
I don't think there's enough of us here.
yeah, so I would like to move the meetings to 6:30 in order to make them something that everyone can attend with work schedules. And I'm wanting to get a sense of that. Counselor Ricketts and Counselor Master were able to move with that. Is that a possibility for you?
It's not my first choice, but if it's the majority will of the committee, then I can do it.
Yeah, I'm a 5:30 girl, so this is late to me, so. I'll
That's
do
why I
it.
like 6. 6
Yeah.
is like splitting the difference.
I know, right?
Okay.
So I will do it and yeah, it's just the later it is, it's just, I mean, it took me, took me 2 years to fight to get council to start it.
Yeah, and I'm
6:30 because
grateful that you did.
they wanted it at 7 and,
Yeah,
but no, 6:30 is just so late at night to start a meeting, but yeah, we
Okay.
can,
I will.
we'll do it.
Okay, so I will take that all into account and I will let you know before the next meeting what time we're going. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So the next meeting is currently scheduled for pending a time change. You will know with ample notice if I change the time, but currently the next meeting of appointments and ordinances is scheduled for April 10th. 2024 at 6 p.m. via the City Hall meeting room, second floor, Zoom hybrid, unless otherwise posted. And may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Ricketts?
Okay.
Do we need a roll call vote on whether to adjourn?
Let's go for the lawsuit.
Okay, all right. Okay, Councilor Mastrosano, Councilor Gordon,
Yes.
Councilor Ricketts.
Yes.
Okay, Councilor Golub, yes, the meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful
Thank you
evening.
all.